What?
Oh wait, they couldn't hear me the entire time. That's great. Love that.
Oh,
I'm not muted anymore. Here, I fix it. You just don't get to know what I said. Anyway, hello.
I get to
Been a hot minute.
tease.
I called it a lovely sauce. Bit of ketchup. It's not a lovely
What?
sauce actually.
I'm so
Or
confused. What
sauce.
are you talking about the honey mustard?
Yes. Particularly the
Well,
Heinz honey mustard. Because that's not honey mustard, that's just mustard. No one gets honey mustard with the intention of just eating mustard. Okay? Saying this for all the sauce companies that are watching out there. Because it's important that people don't do this in the future. Anyways. I think I did mine last time. You do your weekly obsession.
weekly obsession. Well, first off, D&D update. Because we actually had D&D. Yay! So, we witnessed a war crime last time. A whole bunch of people got blown up. And so we went back to Beachfront, where all the Warforged live. And so then we witnessed kind of a scene happen between two Warforged. And it was kind of scary, but no one died, luckily, so it was all fine. And then we went to go talk to the Warforged Dandelions to guide us to where we need to go next. Which is a group called the Keen Flowers, and so we make our way over, through this really dense, foggy area, and we keep being told that, oh, if they wanted us dead, we would be dead already, but they don't want us dead, so it's all good. And we get to this giant tower, and we go in, and we're greeted by this halfling in a wheelchair who talks very quickly.
Table rights.
And then another halfling, yeah, much younger this time, is like swings down from the cable that holds like an elevator up to the top of the tower, and is also talking pretty fast and introducing himself. And we noticed that kind of a similar thing that we were seeing at the factory from like the first session, where people's supposed like souls or shadows or something like that were kind of being taken from them, and then they were switching places, kind of a deal. It's kind of happening with these guys because they're seeming to like rotate. And so one of them goes, the one who can walk, the young man is gonna get some tea, and we've learned that there's a third one. There's a child. And there's a child. And so my character is just like, kind of trying to signal to the rest of the group, like, oh, this is, maybe we should be careful. And the one in the wheelchair is like, oh, you see something very good, kind of a deal. And he gestures, and he has a dragon mark that looks exactly like my changed dragon mark. And so now I'm like, okay, I need to talk to you. So me and the wheelchair guy go up to like the top floor to like his office and everything. Well, the rest of the party.
Purple guy or something, but he's a wheelchair guy.
Because I can't remember his name because it was mentioned at the very end. I can't remember it. And so, and it's shown that, oh, they're House of Galanda, which is the House of Hospitality. Um,
Great for customer service.
yeah. And so me and him go all the way up to the top of the tower, and I'm asking him questions because I'm like, okay, when and how did your dragon mark change, and what's gonna happen, and everything like that. And there's a real heart to heart and everything like that. Um, where it's like, okay, the person that we're trying to find, the artifact he has with him is what's kind of messing everyone up, and he fundamentally changes people apparently.
You just said
And
fun dimensionally.
no, I did not. I said fundamentally changes
Roll the
people.
tapes, you damn.
Um, and so this is what changed about me. It changed my dragon mark, and according to wheelchair guy, he it isn't. It's still my mark. It's still like a normal dragon mark to an extent, but it's like unchained now, where I can still do everything I could do before, but to a greater extent apparently, once I learn how to do it. Um, and supposedly it
It's
won't be
you, but
changing
better.
back. Yes, it's me, but better.
God, it is the
Um,
substance.
and he says he's gonna grab some books for me to read on the subject. Because this tower that we're in is like full of a bunch of stuff. Like they're massive hoarders. And so I
Like
go
you.
back down. Oh no, 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 no. Um, and so I go back down, and in the meantime, our warlock may have cut some stuff up with some magic scissors. Our fighter found a whip that was talking to him. Um, and played tag with it and also played jump rope with it poorly. But the thing is, when I got down and everything like that, no, none of us could hear or even sense any sort of like things going on with this whip. And then he rolled an Arcana and like failed the Arcana thing. I was like, he might just be crazy. Cool. So it's like awesome. So now we're just gonna ignore that for now, and we go back up. We go up to the top of the tower again,
Oh,
to where,
stairs.
yes, the stairs, and to where the guy that we're trying to grab is, and
Essentially.
the tower like changes as we're going up, and it's like now we're on a ship of some kind, and we get to the top and we open the doors and we see him kind of watching out over the waves, and we can see the waves and everything like that, and we're like, okay, this is weird. And as soon as we try to go closer, it changes into a new scene where it's like we're in like a really war-torn village, and this is apparently the first battle of that the Warforged were included in ever, and we're kind of taking up these roles as these Carnathian soldiers.
Ghost time travelers. It all makes sense now.
But yeah, so that's where we left out. We were in the middle of battle against some Warforged as completely different
Predestined.
characters. So yeah, well, that was our D&D update. It was fun. I got to do quite a bit of role playing. I always feel a little bit bad when I do stuff like that, because I'm like, I don't want to act like I'm the main character, but at the same time, I'm the one who talks the most. So
You know you're the main character, it's fine.
I'm not trying to be. It's just it's one of those things where it's like it kind of just happens, because if no one else likes to talk or make decisions, someone has to. And so I will if no one else will. But um weekly obsession though, I don't really know. I honestly can't remember a lot of what's happened this week other than work and
It's been
sleeping.
2 weeks.
Even more so then.
That's
I'm still
sad.
reading a bunch of Perry Schmartz fanfic. So there's more of it than you might think there would be. Um,
It's still worrying.
then D&D from last night gave me a lot of inspiration. It was really funny because I kept rolling like above 15 almost the entire night. Like my first 2 rolls were nat 20s. And it was kind of ridiculous. There was a time where I rolled 2 nat 20s together. It was like, dear God. So
But never
I
in
want to do some
battle.
never in battle. Yeah, no, never in battle. And so I want to do some writing with that. Because I have something that I have a feeling I want to try and do, and I don't know if I'll stick to it, but it'll be fun to do anyways. But then earlier today, like for the past like 4 hours or so, um, SK and I have been doing split fiction, and it's been pretty fun. However, there is the current section we're in has spiders. Yay! Luckily, usually it's in a case where I'm not having to directly come in contact with them because usually, the character SK's playing is the one who's taking care of them, or dealing anywhere near them. However, there was a section where, because my character in this area could turn into a little fairy, had to go through this little cave, I guess, and that was filled with spiders, and they were gigantic in comparison to me, and they were like coming towards me, and so I had to close my eyes, but because it's a split screen, that's kind of the entire gimmick. um
What's that? I
he
don't
was
even know
a
what
I
that game is.
It's like the Takes Two. It's the same developers of It Takes Two. So it's another co-op game, and so in this case, since he could see my screen and I could not look at the screen without screaming, um I literally said, I'm gonna close my eyes, you're gonna have to guide me. And he did, and I got through that area just fine, so it was great. But where we just ended off doing a dance battle with the Monkey King. So, because the entire like gimmick of this game is that you're jumping between genres and everything like that, because it's like a publishing. You're both writers, and so what all of these stories are that you're going through are different stories that you've both written. So there's a section where we were pigs and we went to go turn ourselves into hot dogs, and then we got eaten at the end.
And then the game
So
stopped.
yeah,
Died.
no, that was a side story. That was like a bonus world.
To get eaten was a bonus
Yes,
world.
yes.
Okay. Sure. So hi, Mikey. Hi. Interesting. Why is it that you always?
What?
But you need to have more interaction with something other than Doofenshmirtz and Bear the Platypus fanfic that gets you in the mood to be obsessed with
Jen,
something.
what? Okay, I
I
think
feel like
this
these
is
are
a
very easy
pretty.
stipulations.
I mean, I think I've already mentioned that Livingston came out with a new album that I've been listening to.
Did you?
I feel like I did, but maybe that was within the interim. But yeah, so Livingston came out with a new album that I've been listening to. So at least there's that.
Have you only mainly been listening to the album?
It's part of my playlist, my current playlist.
Ah,
So
your
I've been
dreaded
listening to,
playlists.
yeah. So there is currently 66 songs in this playlist. And at least a good like 20% of it is Livingston.
When did you start like making
Let me see. Does
like the
Spotify
beginning
still
of the
tell
year or
me?
something?
It says that I started making this all on my birthday, actually, of
Okay,
last
so
year.
before the beginning of the year.
I'm surprised. Usually these playlists don't last this long.
Oh, I've done that though. I'll have some playlists that I really long time ago that adding more songs to.
Like if we look at the one before this.
I kept getting rid of playlists where they were the main reason was the super lagging my iTunes. I started getting rid of them. I want to say
Oh yeah, I have an unreasonable amount of playlists. I need to do a culling at some point. Um, but the playlist before this one playlist 47
I
only
like that that's
lasted
how they're
from
listed. That makes it seem like there are these anomalous artifacts.
they this one lasted less than a month because I started on November 10th and ended on the 5th. So
Clearly not that special.
no, but that's why I'm surprised that this one's lasted so long.
I mean, at that point, if certain playlists only last that long, I would imagine those would be the ones that you'd want to delete first, right?
Well, no, I like having them as little time capsules. I
But
meant more
don't you just
deleting like some of the random like mood playlists that I have that aren't really filled with anything or really have a purpose.
are the playlists the only way that you can access the music? Do you not save it separately?
I mean, almost all of them are in my likes, but my likes are also, you know, there's 2,710 songs in my likes.
It gives
So,
variety.
I know. But a lot of it, there's some that in here that need to be removed because some of them are like the Wicked musical, but like in German and stuff like that. Like, I don't know why
Why
this is
were you
here.
listening to the
I
Wicked
wasn't
musical
is
in
the thing. I don't know
German?
why it's there. But then
Uh,
also like there's a bunch of orchestral pieces as well, which is a bit more understandable because I like listening to um
oh, the Wicked music in German seems up your alley.
I mean maybe normally, but what if it's a song that I always skip when it comes on, like what's the point?
And some people force themselves to like certain. I feel like I used to be someone that was against that. I don't know if I force myself as much as I feel like some songs definitely listens. Because like some songs you get like an instant, ooh, this is
I
yummy.
need to turn my light on. What did you say?
Where did I lose you?
Said you were against forcing yourself to like things?
But I feel like nowadays I'm someone that, Mikey, what do you want? Constant interaction? What are you, a pet? Like, I don't understand. Do I need to feed you?
You're not saying anything basically. This is a podcast.
I
We're
am
talking to
saying
each
something.
other.
But no.
I didn't say you. I meant Mikey
Okay,
isn't
but you
saying
just
anything.
said you. But anyways, no. I feel like I used to be very much of the same mind frame of like, don't force yourself to like something. But nowadays, I feel like some songs there's like instant gratification of like you'll hear it and you'll hear a part of it that like itches the right part of your brain,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
and then sometimes you'll hear a song and you'll be like, I don't know how I feel about that. It's not necessarily a negative, but it doesn't make you want to listen to the song, and you kind of have to listen to the song multiple times to realize there's parts in it that are good, that you would like. It's just the overall experience didn't exactly match the vibe you had in your head, I guess.
Yeah, I've had that with like some of Livingston songs. I've had that where I was like, I don't really know how I feel about this, and then I actually listened to it a few more times, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I drive with this. But that was also me with Apata.
So you do like it now,
I do like it,
which is
but I
surprising considering you hate repetition.
the thing though, the part that drove me that kind of lured me in was it was specifically because there was an animation that popped up on my Instagram that was very satisfying to watch. Um, and it was just about a Korean apartment cleaner, like
Sure.
custodian guy. But it had the more of like the last chorus in the song where it's like there's a bunch of like the background vocals and instrumentals and everything. And I really liked that part because that was really nice. And so I learned to like the rest of the song and the build up to it.
Yeah, but I can't be a person that listens to a song just for like one section of it though. Because like there are some
I
songs that I'm like,
learned.
ooh, the bridge is so nice, but I'm not gonna listen to a whole ass song just to listen to the bridge.
Well, end up I do that and then I end up learning to like the rest of it.
I can't do that with some songs. Like, okay, for example, segue. Um, I'll do my weekly obsession after the song count. So within the past 2 weeks, I've gotten 33 new songs.
Okay.
Um, the main song that has had a chokehold on me, which funnily enough, this isn't the first time I've listened to this song, nor is it the first time I've listened to this song, this specific version of it that's not even an actual version of it. Because the person who came out with it never made this an official version. Because the official version I hate. And not because of the song. So
Okay. There's a lot to keep track in that
so
statement, but okay.
the main song that I've been listening to, which is specifically a custom remix of the song, is called I Love It by Camila Cabello. And it's not a new song. It's from her album that she came out with, I think, sometime last year. And when I initially heard the song, I really liked the song. Except there's this part, because technically there's a feature from this rapper named Playboi Carti.
Okay.
And I'm not opposed to rap breaks, interludes, if you will, bridges, if you consider it that. But I do have a problem with a specific kind of rapping, and it's mumble rapping. Because I hate when, one, I can't understand what the hell you're saying, and
Yeah.
two, no one else can either. Like, it's not just a me thing. Because I've had other songs, like there's this one K-pop song called Dessert by Hyo, and she was from Girls' Generation. And I like the song by itself, but it features this artist named Loopy, where his entire thing is like, I hate that. Can't listen to the song because of that feature. So I specifically, the funny part is with this song, there's, because so many people are in the same boat as me, where they're like, what the hell is he saying? There's so many funny and stupid memes about it online. But I found this version of it, and I found it a long time ago, but I ended up listening to it recently again for some reason, where it's specifically, they got rid of his rap out of the song. And they just replaced it with like another repeat of the chorus over the bridge section, which has slightly different instrumental, so it's fine and it sounds different enough where it's interesting. Loopy, that's the name of the Korean rapper that I'm talking about. And I've been listening to that so many times, and it's so much better without that stupid rap in it. Because it is so dumb. Like, I don't understand people that like that. And maybe it's because it's the same as like people who, like, in my boat of like, I don't necessarily need to know the lyrics to like the song. Maybe they don't need to know the lyrics to like the vibe of the but I don't know. So that was my main song that I've been listening to a lot. But I'll do an honorable mention to my homegirl. I say homegirl, she don't know me. Lexi Liu, Liu specifically. She is a Chinese artist who, funnily enough, has a lot of, if not a majority of, like, English songs. But she has some Mandarin songs too and everything. And I knew about her for a long time, and I had listened to her stuff for a decent amount of time. But every time she comes out with new music, I'm just reminded of how cool she is. Like, not only as a person, but like as an artist, because both the music and whatever artistic direction she takes with the actual concept of either the music video or like the album or something is always so unique and like so out there that I'm like, she's just a fucking cool person. So she had this one song that she came out with, I want to say this past week, like this past Thursday or Friday, and it was called Pop Girl. See, here's the thing. I'm like, I like this song and I like this song called I Love It, and I'm out here thinking if you were to listen to these songs you would hate them because they repeat a lot of the same stuff in the chorus. But it's a really fun song that is very, it like,
Because okay,
go
I
on.
don't hate repetition. I hate repetition with no direction.
What do you consider no direction?
Like the again and again and again and again.
There was a direction. It kept going on again and again. That was the direction.
That drives me fucking crazy. It's the same thing over and
background, and she kept saying everything is in the background.
But it wasn't. It wasn't enough to make it sound any different.
Listen, when Sarah gets really heated about a topic, she turns into a robot. What can I say? Okay, well then, for quick explanation, at least if you ever, I'm not recommending it, I'm just saying if you ever happen to listen to, not I Love It, I don't think you would like I Love It, but if you listen to Pop Girl by Lexi Liu, she has a knack for doing this a lot of the times where she has like really, really good bridges that break up whatever songs she has, because not all of her songs are super repetitious. But she specifically has a really good bridge in this that I feel like is nice to break up the glossy sheen that is the production and the message of the rest of the song. But yeah, so that's my song stuff. And then for my weekly obsession, I have two potential ones. One is cleaning. Solely for the fact of, I feel like a lot of the time, like my room or just places around will get dirty, or not even necessarily dirty. Like I'll leave stuff out that I'll say I'll get to this later, like a box or something, and then I'll keep putting boxes and stuff, and so I'll have like a pile at some point in certain corners of my room or something. And it's just very satisfying when you don't. You know? Like when that's just not there anymore, and you can vacuum and dust and all that stuff. So that was one of the main ones, because I did that recently, and it was really nice to feel like my room is clean again. Then another one, actually I might have three. So the second one was gonna be my friends and my family. Less than 3. Sarah's silent right now. I don't know why, but she is.
Can you not hear me?
Yeah, I couldn't hear you for a decent amount of time. Were you muted?
I mean, I haven't said anything until I said "aw."
I didn't hear that. But no.
Oh, I said "aw."
Yeah, that's really making it come through nice and gentle. But no, because this past 2 Saturdays ago is when I spent time with Sarah and some friends for my birthday, and then this past Saturday we went to Disney. That was an entire experience, but
My legs hurt.
that's listen, you ain't used to walking, just in general. But
These
no,
boots were not made for walking, and these boots are my legs.
the being able to spend time with people, but then also just getting certain people like sending me wishes or tiny little gifts. Like, even though he called me Prick Mikey, drawing that little thing in my character was really sweet. And just all this stuff.
I didn't see that.
It's in the Fancaster chat. But yeah.
I have to
So
find the
all of that
Fancaster
stuff,
chat.
comparative to, like, you know, just not caring about a birthday or something, it was really nice. And then the third one, I guess this is just more of something that I've discovered about myself that I already knew about myself, but I for sure know now, is I love getting gifts for people. I like just getting things for people because it's fun. And especially when it's things, I mean, when it's things like really far in advance, it makes me a little impatient because I'm like, I want to give it to them now, but at least it makes me happy that, like, similar to like getting something done ahead of time, it's like, I don't have to worry about this, thank God. So that's been nice. I've been like rebuying stuff for birthdays and all that jazz. And just getting plans sorted out within the past couple of weeks. So that's been really nice. I've been able to like sort out long-term plans that are happening within the next like 5 months or so. Yeah. It's been nice.
Where's the thing that he posted?
It's in
Like, where did you post it?
general.
Hold on, I'm all the way back in December.
I don't know how you got that far back. But
Ah, there it is. Okay.
anyway. Yeah. Plus, if I've learned anything, it's that instant gratification in the day and age of ordering things online is not a possibility.
Yeah.
Which is
yeah.
fine. it trains you to not expect things to happen overnight, which is good in its own way. Because, you know, I would say comparative to how angry you get when you bite DSs, I'm a patient person. That I've learned.
Okay.
I didn't used to be, but I'm more of a patient person now than I used to be.
I think I'm fairly patient when it comes to most things. When it came to when I bit my DS in half when I was a child,
That changes nothing. I never bit my DS in half.
I bit a lot of things.
That's a problem with you.
I was a child.
Oh my gosh. You act like every child was like biting things instinctively. That was mainly a you thing. Yes,
Listen,
Tina.
we've talked about this. I got angry enough that I bit my DS in half.
At a DS wipeout game.
Yes. Because I kept failing. That's why I don't do rage games. Actually, it doesn't even count just for rage
I was
games.
about to say,
That's why
you
I
get
don't
mad
do
at a
anything
bunch.
where I get stuck.
Oh my gosh.
Because I was also getting mad at The Witness when I was playing that the first time.
You've
where I was.
played Portal and stuff though. That's like the epitome of a stuck game.
But I feel like
You can't bite a portal gun, so that's where the line is drawn.
I don't think I've ever gotten like stuck in Portal. So.
Surprising. This is why I think.
But
you
like
should play
when I
Antichamber.
played. Antechamber?
I'll get it for you. It's only to make you play it on stream.
Oh god. The thing, but when I was playing The Witness, that one time I ever played The Witness, I just about threw my mouse into the wall because I was getting so fucking frustrated.
Yeah, there's this one mystery game that I remember seeing that I thought would be interesting to play with you. Because it takes, like, deduction and reasoning skills. And I feel like, if given the right amount of time, you're a good thinker. So... But, yeah. Anyways. Okay. Let's catch up, shall we? I mean, honey mustard.
Oh god.
Sarah says she doesn't remember anything she's done within the past 2 weeks.
I mean, mostly it's just been work. That's the thing. Is that it's been work peppered in with some gaming, not even that much gaming, and going to the hospital to visit my aunt.
But you got to get rid of emails. Straight into the trash.
I got rid of a lot of emails. Because that's mostly what I do at work and everything. It's just a lot of emails.
I just had a moment with my phone. Oh, God.
What?
So you know how I have a new phone now?
Yeah?
I was yawning. Okay, so you know how the new phone, like, it unlocks with Face ID?
Yeah.
So I was yawning, and it was saying it couldn't open my phone, so I quickly, tried to do a normal face. It reminded me of a Let's Serve Cunt Now, where I was like, I had to quickly put on my normal face instead of yawning to open up my phone. It didn't even open for it. Oh my gosh. Anyways. Sorry. I find things... I was going to say... So you know how I have addictions.
Yes.
They're not gotcha related. I'm not that bad.
At least.
Well, what do you consider a gotcha? Basically...
Where's this going?
Basically. Do you know... Not the Muffin Man. Do you know Scentbird?
Yeah. Oh god. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
You can only get up to 3. Calm down. It's not like I'm getting 17. But so Scentbird specifically, for those who don't know, but typically you should have seen this at least in some YouTubers ad at some point or another. They do small bottles of perfume, but instead of buying giant bottles of a perfume that you may or may not have ever even smelled, you can get a small bottle for like a monthly thing, and you can change what perfumes you get each month. And so I am someone that dangerously speaking, this is why I'm like, depends on what you consider a gotcha. I'm someone that if a bottle intrigues me enough and I look up the notes and I think, yeah, sure, I'll buy a bottle. Because I could be in love with it and I could also not be in love with it, as with some of the smells that I have. However, most of the smells that I have right now, the parfums, other than I would say maybe one, I've gotten to know and liked with varying degree. Like even the supposedly old lady herbal smell in that like heart green bottle, I've learned to like in its own way. I can't wear it all the time, but I've learned to like it when I wear it for its own sense of smell. However, the spray bottle by Diesel, the green one, that one I don't think I can like. I just like the bottle. So, with this thing, basically, I now have 3 different smells that I've always wanted to try because I've seen them. I've seen like advertisements for them, but obviously like a whole bottle can cost anywhere from like 70 to 80 to like 120, 160.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't think I want to mess with that. So I got to pick 3 smells that I've always wanted to smell, and I only had to pay like maybe $30 for 3 of them.
Expanding the horizon of your nose.
That'll last like a month. And so I'm gonna try that. I'm excited for that. But then on the other hand, I also have learned, dear God, I've had to email so many people within the past couple of days. I specifically have been, like I mentioned, getting gifts for people in advance. And I have also learned that I am a good discount hound because I have found some amazing deals on things within the past like week or so. Like deals of which like something that was over $160, I got $100 off. And I think I did a very good job at it. Plus another thing that I told you about, and I told you and Shinny about, that was a good deal too. I already have it. It's already like bagged up here and ready to give out soon. TM. But I don't know. It's been
Pun
exciting.
intended.
It's been exciting because I got to find some really, really good deals that were unexpected, but obviously welcome.
Yes.
And then most recently, I went to the store today, and I picked up this little tiny thing. This little bitch. So you know those Starface pimple patches? I got green ones because it fit my aesthetic, but also because I thought they looked cute. But also, I didn't just get them because they looked cute, because I actually wanted some patches to have in the back of my little drawer cabinet. But funnily enough, something else that happened within this past week, 2 things actually. Mermaid bought me an eyebrow pencil. Love you, girl. And then Faye, specifically, because I was talking about how I wanted to do some face masks because I felt like my face was really dry in the past 2 weeks or so, and she bought me like an entire giant variety pack of face masks on Amazon, and I got them shipped to my house, and I've been using those and they've been lovely. Although I do question how one of them was called like vegetable placenta, but you know, it didn't smell bad. And
Wait, hold on. What?
It was called vegetable placenta. I kid you not.
Why?
I don't know. But it was nice. What can I say? Oh, yeah. And there's all kinds of things in the pipes. The pipes are piping. Danny boy. But I had something specifically. I had a couple of things that I thought to talk about. So, you weren't there, Sarah. I don't think you would have been able to handle it. Well, I don't know. How do you... Okay. What kind of horror movies can you absolutely not stand at all? Because well, here's the thing. I know that you got scared at the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. Oh.
Jump scares, okay?
Well, okay. By jump scare, do you just mean like any like sudden loud noise or like flash on the screen or something?
Both count, yes.
Because technically speaking, I don't think this movie had jump scares like that. Because this
So
past
kind of dreading. It was also a mixture of dread as well. There
in
was
Five Nights at
tension.
Freddy's.
Yes.
Okay. So me, Shitty, Faye, and partially Hide this past Monday watched The Substance because
I know nothing about that.
I had wanted to watch it for a while, and Faye said that she had wanted to watch it, and Shitty, believe it or not, watched it with us, even though it was supposed to be a horror movie. And she was fine for the most part. I think near the end she got nauseous, but and that's what should tell you what this kind of movie is like. It was very body horror.
No, 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 no.
Well, here's the thing. To me, I think for the most part, I can be decent slash okay with body horror just because in my mind, and I even was like saying it out loud to try and make Faye and Shitty feel better, where I was like, that's just silicone that they put red corn syrup on. Like, that's not a body. That's just fake, okay? But they couldn't look at it. But I was fine looking at it.
There's a certain extent of body horror that I can deal with.
Like what?
Like most of it, like unless it's anything with the face. Face stuff.
Like what?
Freaks me out. Like if you're trying to think. Like eyes, I'm not even that bothered by eye stuff. It does like I'll go like, oh god, but that's kind of it. It won't like haunt me. Teeth stuff is kind of like a.
Okay, then I don't think you would have liked a certain part of this movie.
But again, it's not something I don't think that would haunt me.
How about
the main
fingernails
things
coming off?
Fingernails coming off doesn't bother me as much as losing a finger or something like that.
Interesting.
I still don't think. I think I still wouldn't like it. But like, if you want something that really kind of fucked me up a little bit, there is DLC to Resident Evil 7, which is arguably my favorite horror game. And there is DLC where you're playing kind of like this augmented version of poker, kind of, or blackjack, I think it is.
Sure.
And the first thing is like there's like stakes where everyone because we've established you don't have taste. A good portion of people agree that Resident Evil 7 is a really good game. But the stake is that for every hand you lose
You
lose a finger. No, you lose a finger. Like there's like these little guillotines set up to cut off a finger. That really messes me up. I don't know why. There's something about losing a hand or losing a finger that really just
I feel like
that's the fun part, Hide.
losing stuff, for me at least, like losing a limb, a finger, appendage. We've been over this at some point in the past. I just don't remember what episode. That's not as bad in my mind because obviously, like, it's gonna hurt. But I think what would mess me up more is like when you have something clearly wrong with something on your body and it's still stuck to you. Because then that's like a current problem that you have to deal with. Because like there's this point, well, are you ever gonna watch The Substance?
Probably not.
There's this point.
That's the thing is I find like watching or reading evaluations or explanations of horror movies very interesting, more than watching the movies themselves.
That's the thing. I feel like this movie specifically, like one of the main reasons I wanted to watch it is because I thought the concept of it was interesting. And like, to give a brief explanation, it's basically this Hollywood actress slash, I guess the most I could equivalent it to is like dance instructor, Pilates instructor, She did like those workout videos.
Yeah.
That was what she did. She was something Sparkles. I forget, like Lauren Sparkles. Hide, you would remember. Basically, that was her shtick. And she was probably in the movie like maybe getting into her 50s or something. Still looked great. It was Demi Moore, so of course she was gonna look amazing regardless. But the whole premise around it was that the company was phasing her out because she was too old, and they're like, "You're not a pretty little thing anymore." So they cut her off. She's still famous, but she still feels like she's not pretty enough or anything because she's old now and she's not considered beautiful in the public eye. And there's this weird thing that happens where she gets in a car wreck and then she gets given a card by one of the nurses that's working at the hospital. That's basically a call for this weird program, the substance, where she calls it. She goes to this weird, like, abandoned downtown LA area to get this box that essentially is this it's like the equivalent of like one of those foreign snack boxes where it's basically you open it up and it has cards in it that tell you what everything is and what you're supposed to do with them. And so she gets a vial of the substance, which is funnily enough like a neon greenish yellow color. And then she gets like these food packets that she is supposed to give to her other half and then her. And at first when we were all seeing it, we were like, what does that mean? But basically, when she injects herself with the substance, she splits open from behind. Like her entire back splits open and out crawls Margaret Qualley, the actress, basically the younger version of herself. And
how does that work?
Okay, you can't ask those kinds of questions in this kind of movie because there's a lot of questionable things. But basically, what was stressed a lot in the really cryptic phone calls that she made with this hotline that gave her the package details and everything was both of these parts of you are still you. They're not separate from each other. And so whatever you take from one will reflect on the other. So you can see where this is going. She likes being young, but the rules were that you specifically had 7 days in each body and you couldn't spend longer in each body. And that's what the food tubes were for. They were meant to keep the body that you weren't inhabiting alive while you essentially spinal fluid tapped the older body to stay in the young body. And so what ended up happening is the younger version of her kept spinal tapping the old version of her because she wanted to stay in the young body for longer, even though you're not supposed to do that. Because when you don't spinal tap and then inject that spinal fluid into the young body, you start destabilizing and like bleeding everywhere. And it gets worse, but that's what happens later on in the movie. And when she would get back into her older body, parts of her were aging rapidly to the point of like she was becoming a walking corpse of a woman. And so it got to the point where the entire movie essentially revolved around the fact that she was treating both of these bodies as separate people when it was supposed to be the same person in two different bodies. And that once you abused your old self to the point of no return, the most you could do is kill the younger version of yourself because you already did the damage to yourself. And so, of course, she essentially turned into this old hag of a woman. And she was like, I want it to stop, I want it to end. And she got this package that was supposed to kill the younger version of her. Except she stopped it right before it killed her because she was like, but I want to still stay pretty sometimes. But then the younger version of her woke up at the same time while she was still there and started beating the shit out of her to the point where she killed her. And so now all that was left of her was the younger version. But the younger version, because the old version's dead now, she can't get any of the spinal fluid from her. And so she's going to start like destabilizing over time because she doesn't have that anymore. And that's what ends up happening, where her teeth start falling out. She rips off her ear at one point, her nails start coming off, and like she's bleeding profusely from all of her orifices. And she is like, I need to do it again. And so she injects herself with the substance again. But instead, what comes out of this new younger version of the body is an amalgamation of flesh and the old version that essentially looks like a big walking blob. And because that has nothing to stabilize off of, it ends in basically it completely falling to fleshy mush. But yeah, there's a lot more to it than that. But the basic gist of it was supposed to be female body standards, and including age standards as well, like within the industry, but also just public viewing of women's bodies in general, and like how age is supposed to dehumanize them to a point of making them not even worthy of anything. And both the concept and the way that it was filmed, because there were a lot of stylistic choices, like the apartment in which all of this stuff goes down was so whack, like layout wise, but there was clearly intention beyond it. And plus the soundtrack too. The soundtrack reminded me, funnily enough, of Brat Summer, Charlie XCX, because there was a lot of like club bangers in it that were just randomly happening. But it was like a really interesting movie. And Shinny could watch all of it for the most part. She said she started getting nauseous near the end because there was this point when a boob came out of one of her holes. Like a detached boob came out of a hole on her face. A lot happened in that movie. She also, the younger version of her also like had a chicken wing come out of her belly button at some point. Like there was a lot of stuff that happened in that movie. But it was really intriguing. I thought it was really intriguing, and the aesthetic behind it was really, really cool. So
Last year.
yeah, it was a recent movie.
Huh.
It's called The Substance, Mikey. And so I would say there are, if you can't handle like any body horror, I don't recommend it, because literally within the first instance of injecting herself with the substance, she rips open from behind. And it doesn't look comfortable, to say the least. But it was interesting.
Yeah. Like, see, I would not be able to handle a Saw movie at all.
Yeah, plus that, I feel like, at least with this one, like you mentioned, I feel like there's a lot less real life implications to where you can kind of like detach yourself from any weird stuff going on, because it's like, well,
especially with something like that, just by the sounds of it, I don't think would bother me as it would be like, what the fuck, but it wouldn't be like a, oh god kind of a thing.
Yeah, because Saw feels more torture porn.
It is,
but also
it fully is
dirty, like dirty in a gross way, but that's the point. But you know, some people really like this movie. I think they created a very specific genre that they're definitely known for. But
I think there is some. I have a specific interest in like the mechanical aspects of it.
you want to be Saw? You want to be Jigsaw?
No,
you are small enough to be a puppet.
Okay.
You could go in on a tricycle.
I think I have there is a morbid fascination of like how it works, kind of, but it's also like, ugh. Like I know there was one trap that I saw that was
That you saw?
Yes. You had to.
That, like,
it was like someone's
fake friend. Whoa.
Where you stick your hand into like, it's like a one-way thing where there's blades and everything, and it's like cutting into your wrists and arm and everything as you're trying to reach for something.
I feel like, to my knowledge from the things that I remember, I feel like the early Saw movies were more visceral seeming, because I feel like the newer ones they started getting almost into that fantastical trap sort of mechanics. Like, wasn't there one with like lasers?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Like lasers on the face and
I
everything.
don't think that's a thing that I can put. Like, I know there are lasers that could definitely like burn holes in you, but not to the same extent of it being basically like a lightsaber. Like, that's not how it works. But I don't know. Plus, typically, I feel like you don't fully see. Like, you might see something happen, but depending on which specific thing it is, I don't think you fully see it happening. The extent.
No, I do. I believe you're correct in that sense, where it's like it's limited to a certain extent, but you usually see the aftermath.
But yeah, I don't know. I think, if anything, I specifically like the. This is gonna be a very niche take that no one else is gonna know. But something that the Saw franchise does every time they come out with a new movie is they have a blood drive.
They
And
do?
they do. And they do photo shoots for this blood drive. And they hire
Where
like
they drench you in blood.
no. They hire like models and stuff to be like creepy nurses and everything. And
Mm-hmm.
I love the photo shoots that they've done because they have like records of all of the previous photo shoots that they've done for each and every Saw movie. And I think all of those are really cool. Like, the concept behind that's really cool.
Hold on.
Are you looking it up now?
Not photo shoot, photo shoot.
I promise it's a thing.
Saw blood drive on the Saw wiki.
Because they had like normal nurses back in the day, and then they had ones with like needles in them, and then they had like dresses made of needles. And I don't know, I just thought the entire concept of it was really cool.
Yeah, no, I like when things like that because I think that's awesome actually. That's really fun.
Because at least if you're gonna watch people lose blood, you can lose blood too. That's their tagline.
Don't no, actually, it's bleed for me and for those in need,
Well,
based on the wiki. So
Mikey, do you happen to be scared of small spaces? Because I feel like that's what people say, they're scared of House of Wax.
I don't know what House of Wax is either.
Let's think of the title. Think of what
It's a
could,
house made out of wax.
you know, and that's horrifying. One candle and it's done for. No, it's, if I remember correctly, they make like wax statues out of real people, essentially. That's the whole premise behind it. I mean, in theory, being dipped in molten hot wax, not a fun time.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, it's something like that would be terrifying. But for me, it's not that I'm scared of small spaces. I'm scared of being trapped.
Even in a big space?
Even in a big space. That's one of the reasons caves scare me.
Not the caves.
Is that being in a place where I cannot easily get out of. If I was ever in like the catacombs or something, God, I would be having a panic attack the whole time because people get lost in those places. Awful.
Why would you be in the catacomb?
I don't know. People go down to the catacombs.
Isn't it illegal?
Is it?
I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to be in the catacombs.
Can you go into the Paris catacombs?
Maybe for a tour,
I feel like there's tours, yes.
but like by yourself, I don't think you're supposed to do that.
Because they don't want people getting lost.
What I'm hearing is if we go to Paris, we go to the catacombs for a tour.
A tour might not be as bad because I've taken tours into caves before, and it's not that bad.
Did you eat a rock
But
when you were in the cave?
I did not.
Missed opportunity. But they're
I
also
wanted to
probably
drink some of the
covered in bat
water
poop.
though. Yeah.
What's the ritual? Is the ritual the one I'm thinking of, where it was based off of? I forget. Was it Thai or Taiwanese? It was one of those. I'm pretty sure it was one of those places. I don't know. I've watched a couple of weird horror movies over the past, I guess, but that was interesting. I don't think you can take a bone from the wall and bring it home, Mikey. Oh, something I had thought about, well, only thought about recently because I saw a bunch of posts about it. So, do you remember when you were a wee little lad and you had access to the internet?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember going on those like custom websites from people where they would put like all of their stuff and they would have like journals or like sticker pages and all that?
Sometimes. I don't know if I really did it, but I know what you're talking about.
Well, that community still exists to this day.
Mm-hmm.
And I, for some reason, fell down a rabbit hole where I basically had all of these random girls that looked like they belonged on Tumblr from 2012 telling me I needed to start my own website.
Hold on. What? What?
You know the aesthetic.
Wait, okay? Is this something that's happened recently, or is this you're talking about back then?
Okay, they weren't telling me directly. It was through videos.
Okay.
They were videos that were like, this, you should make your own website and here's why. But I got recommended like 5 at a time, and they were going through all of these different steps of stuff that you could do. And I don't know, I thought it could be interesting to do my own website because obviously one of the main things, you don't have to know HTML to make a website because there's specific ones that have layouts and stuff that you could just
Yeah, you
custom
can use
rent a
WordPress or
domain
something.
through.
Yeah.
But obviously, if you have HTML access, then you have a bit more versatility in terms of like what you can do. And I don't know, I thought it could be interesting just because, like all of the videos of the Tumblr girls, I say Tumblr girls, the website girlies, because they aren't on Tumblr. That's part of the whole shtick. They specifically always talking about how obviously, one, you have complete control over like what you can and can't post, all that stuff, because it's your own little playground essentially. But then on top of that, that separate from if you try and post like an archive of something on any kind of social media of any kind, that if they delete it suddenly one day or it stops working, then all of that's gone. And so if you were to do it like in your own website, well, yes, the website could go down in theory, but it would still be a separate place that isn't controlled by someone else other than a provider, but I feel like that's less likely to have issues. And so that, on top of the fact that because it's fully customizable, you could really go into the nitty-gritty details of like what you wanted everything, or like what you wanted included. Like, because for me, obviously, if I was to ever have a website of my own, would have to have one of those tiny little music players that annoyingly auto plays music when you first get onto the page, because I would want to blast music at people and make them regret having headphones.
I remember doing that on all my Tumblr blogs.
Yeah, I remember seeing it a bunch on MySpace before too. Or like something that would happen a lot is I remember people from VMK and sometimes people from VFK, more VMK than VFK, but they would have either their MySpace or like a separate, like sometimes a WordPress page or something that was like their own blog, and they would have a link to it that when you go on to it, it would be all the custom
stuff in VMK.
Yeah, I mean you couldn't
Wow.
you couldn't link it like officially, like you would do the same tricks that you did in VFK where it's like parentheses dot parentheses. But I would still type them out. Well, I say type them out, you could copy and paste those and then just replace like the parenthesis dot stuff, but I would still look at those and see all of these things because I feel like early internet websites are very specific kind of nostalgia of like children slash teens of the internet that they would know and have in their repertoire, in their minds. And I think something that I always thought was interesting too about the possibility of making my own website would be that I could truly like theme it any way I wanted, which in my mind I'm like, well, I could do like a normal like techie theme, or I could go complete like Windows 7 Frutiger Arrow theme. as I'm sure other websites exist right now, but you could do all kinds of pages. Like I could have pages about perfume, the group, and the sprays. And so I don't know. For some reason, that's been something that's been on my mind, just because I thought it would be a cool idea. But I know it would definitely take a lot of time investment if I wanted to make sure everything was the way I wanted it. And obviously, it would be a modular project that wouldn't ever fully be like done or anything. But I don't know. I still feel like it could be interesting.
Trying to see, because I've been also kind of going down a bit of a rabbit hole with this, where I keep watching certain, can't even remember who off the top of my head, but someone would just go and look at random GeoCities websites.
Mm.
And there's a specific search that's like archiving them. And I cannot remember. Is this it? I don't know. I don't think this is it.
There's getting lost in the geos.
Mm-hmm.
What was your experience with Tumblr, Mikey? What fandom did you accidentally stumble into? Did you see naked pictures of the Onceler? Because I can tell you right now, you would not be the only one. That was the other thing that I feel like people don't talk about that much. There was a very big Sonic fandom on Tumblr.
There's still a really big Sonic fandom. Looks like this might be at least something.
Because I remember seeing not only blog specific posts, but then fanfics attached to those posts. And all of the different fan arts revolving, I think the main ones that they shipped were, as per usual, Sonic and Shadow.
Mm-hmm.
Because you gotta have an edgy boy to your stupid person. Sonic is a stupid person in my mind. He seems...
He is.
He... I wouldn't say he's a himbo, but I might call him a jock.
Yeah.
I think he's in that range. Oh, Warframe content. Got it. See, that in and of itself tells a lot. Especially because of how giant Warframe is.
Hide, it was not all porn, is the thing. As someone who has been on Tumblr for a long time, if you're seeing porn, like actively seeing it, you're actively looking for it, because it's not that hard to avoid.
Basically, Sarah's calling you a hoe, Hide.
Mm-hmm.
In case you didn't realize.
Because you do get porn bots, but they're really easy to ignore. And you will get the occasional someone kind of goes off the rails. But it's, especially with like recent changes and everything like that, it's not prevalent.
Well, yeah, because they had like that ban, and then and then the ban kind of turned into like a semi-ban, where like some of it was and some of it wasn't, and now I feel like they don't even know.
No one knows. There is this constant thing where if you even criticize Tumblr staff, you will get like shadow banned and stuff like that.
Well, I know when the first ban initially happened, most people like left Tumblr for other websites. And then funnily enough, now that everything is going on with Twitter, people are leaving that website. And so this is even more reason to have your own website. Because then you never have to worry about other people managing stuff. Because that was, funnily enough, one of the other things I was going to talk about. AI. Because there was an artist, I don't follow him directly, but I used to see some of his artwork on my feed, called Raw Straws. And he had a situation recently where someone close to him, I say close to him, probably like a acquaintance slash friend slash helper that like helped him during some events, put out this like giant 20-page document on Twitter, of course. And talking about how he, one, used AI for his most recent art book, and two, wasn't paying his volunteers slash assistants for their work at certain cons that his booths were supposed to be set up.
Yeah.
And obviously the AI thing, just like AI in the art world in general, has obviously been a big thing that's been going on for a while now. But I think the context in which they were saying that he was using it was where he was like using it specifically to make the bases of certain artworks and stuff, and then he was painting over those bases essentially. And so essentially it like didn't, it was not his concept, so to speak. It was basically he
Yeah.
was working off of that. And the entire community was very upset because not just for the use of AI, but also just for the lack of transparency, I guess. Because I feel like more than half the time, the main reason that people get really, really, really upset is because any person that uses AI to any capacity, even if it's like a tiny thing, if they don't disclose it, then automatically that credits them to not being a trustworthy individual. Which, fair.
Yeah.
But I think at the same time, there, because I've seen multiple different viewpoints obviously on AI in the art world in general, but because I've seen like the really far one where it's like, if anyone even thinks about using AI, they should be banned from the art community. And then I've seen other people that are like, it's the new age of art. And I don't agree with either of them, because in my personal experience, anytime that I've ever used AI, and it's been very sparingly because I don't go out of my way to use it, I've only ever played with it a couple of times, then be like, well, that was something. I've only ever used it to put a visual to an idea, and then based off of what that visual looks like, I then go and do my own stuff, essentially. Where it basically helps me solidify what I already was thinking of, and then think, oh, that's what I do. But never in a sense of like using it in and of itself to make whatever art I would create from inspiration of what I already was thinking of.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think in that sense, I don't see it being bad, especially if you also disclose any situation, if you're using it in any sense. Because I hate when there's accounts that specifically don't put it anywhere, and then you are like, that can't be real.
I agree with, like, they need to definitely disclose, but it's also the fact of how much energy generative AI uses as well. The entire a mix of environmental impact of it and just pure waste that it produces that is just awful in my opinion. But also I'm like, I would never have a reason to actually use it, because if it's something that, if it's an idea that I have enough of a picture in my mind usually where I might not be able to recreate it on like in a drawing, but more often than not I can describe it. And I can then pass that on to an artist that I have money now and I can pay for it. Like, I don't see a purpose for it in the art space, in an art or writing space.
That's the other thing, because of obviously how prevalent ChatGPT is in not like just even writing in terms of like creatively, but like anywhere. I feel like I'm constantly hearing about how so many people are using ChatGPT for the stupidest things.
Yeah.
Like,
People are using it to write fanfic. And it's like, you're missing the point of fanfic.
but also every time that I hear that people are using it in terms of like writing anything related to school, I wonder why they're in school. Like, what's the point of you being in school if this is all you're going to be doing in the first place? Because I feel like a lot of the times you'll see, I guess if you can call them sympathizers or whatever, you'll see them essentially saying, well, this is going to be the future, so this is what it's going to be like. And it's like, then at the end of the day, at what point,
What's the
like,
point?
what point in the future does it start running out of something to base off of if everyone starts using it? You know?
Yeah.
Because then it's literally referring to itself and getting worse and worse and worse.
Mm-hmm. Like, even fucking, like, the Google AI, like, when you Google something, you can't trust it because it's wrong about 90% of the time.
Yeah, and you can't turn it off. That's the
You
fun
can,
part.
you can't, like, turn off, but you can exclude it from a search by doing -AI.
That's so much extra work.
Yeah, that's just what I know. I wish we could turn it off. We should be allowed to turn it off. But alas.
What's the thing? Especially because there was another video that I watched recently. I don't remember the exact name of the competition, but there was this specifically traditionalist art competition where it was supposed to be physical art that was like oil paintings that was in a traditionalist master way of being painted, and that's the criteria of like the pieces that were supposed to be entered into this competition. And it costs money to be entered into this competition. Like, you had to pay for your painting to even be considered for like one of the top prizes or something. And there were multiple, but there's this main one, this like AI image that was submitted essentially. And the way that they submit
Mm-hmm.
them is they do like scans of these images and they submit them through there, and then if they make it to like a certain point in the competition, then I'm pretty sure someone comes out to look at the physical version of the art piece to like
Okay.
verify that it's the same thing and everything. And what ended up happening was there's this one image that was submitted by this random person that they've had multiple different artworks that they've had before, like on an Etsy shop, that were all very clearly generated by AI, and this one was too. But they specifically submitted it, and the judges and the panelists and everything either didn't notice or didn't want to say that they noticed that it was AI. And so at a certain point, because it made it to like really, really, really far into the competition, where they had to say, we're looking for a new 10th place person to be in this range, because sadly the image in person did not match the image that was sent in, and we wish that it did because it was a nice painting. And this commentary person was like, the way that they're framing it was like praising the painting even though it was very clearly not a real painting in the first place, and it's like they didn't want to acknowledge that it was AI or something. And
Yeah.
there was like comparisons online that were showing the scanned version versus the in-person version that was very clearly a paint over with a bunch of not correct colors and not correct details.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, like when you generate an AI image, it has like all the different artifacts of multiple things,
Mm-hmm.
and some of those things were corrected and some of them weren't corrected, and then the colors were completely wrong. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
basically it just came down to, what's the point of a traditional art competition that is meant to specifically be traditional art? Like, it's not supposed to be digital art, it's not supposed to be photography, it's supposed to be physical pieces.
Mm-hmm.
If they're just doing AI and you're letting them get away with it just because they
Yeah.
repainted over it.
I know something similar happened with a Pokemon competition too, for like a competition to be official Pokemon card art.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember a lot of it, but I know a lot of people were like under different names, submitting AI art, and it was getting out of hand, and I can't remember the specifics, so take this with a grain of salt, but I vaguely remember someone saying that they made two different things, one for AI art and then one for actual art.
So they were still
And I was like,
accepting AI art?
I think I can't remember the specifics really. And I don't feel like googling it at the moment,
Oh.
so that's just from what I heard. I don't know a lot of it, but
Because I feel like a lot of times, especially like in the comment section of that one video that I had watched, there were even some like older art professors that were commenting that were part of certain boards that were judge panelists that were commenting on this video. And some of them were crazy in the sense of like they were commenting, if it's a pretty picture, it's a pretty picture. Who cares if AI made it? and, and it was like pinned. It was like the pin of shame on the comment section.
yeah.
Because then you have like all these people of like, why are you judging art? Like, I don't think you understand what the point of it is.
It's to eventually this is something that I want to like talk about more in depth in some space, but storytelling is such an innate human thing. It's literally the human experience put into various forms. And so to have a computer start doing it instead, it isn't art anymore. All it is an image. It's not art. It's not anything. Sure, it can be quote unquote pretty, but it's not real.
No, you're not real. I know for me specifically, I always thought of it as like in any medium, in any artistic medium, whether it be writing or like actual paintings or digital media, it always is, regardless of what it's doing, what it's spitting out, it's an imitation of people that have already honed their craft specifically. And it's something that they not only have honed how they do something, but because they've specifically spent so much time with whatever medium that they choose, they have their own stylistic nuances to that, whether it be like an art style or writing style, all of that. And so taking like an imitation of a copy of an imitation of copy, ultimately it's just diluted to what it thinks certain writing is, versus someone who has the knowledge, the know-how, and the experience to actually come up with something that wasn't just an idea that it thinks it can make.
Yeah. I miss when AI was like really small and like EVBot and stuff like that, or Talk to Transformer and stuff like that, where it's like there was not
Talk to Transformer.
that big of we messed with Talk to Transformer.
Did we?
We did. It was when we would put in like those little prompts and it would like spit out like 100 words of a story or something like that.
That's the
like
one
you
I'm
put in
thinking
like
of.
the first sentence and then it auto-generated the rest.
I think I vaguely remember that.
But they were always so weird.
Well,
and it's
yeah.
like, those, as far as I know, did not ever have a big impact in any way. Or like even the personal assistants like Siri and stuff like that, they never, in the end, they never really mattered. But it's gotten to a point where it does matter, and unfortunately we have to start paying attention to it. And it's like, AI should not be used to do the things that people actually enjoy doing. It should be used to do the boring things that no one cares about. But then even when you get into that, it's like, well, AI is doing a pretty shit job of it to begin with. And so you have people like, well, I submitted this thing I submitted a complaint because like on YouTube, like my YouTube video got taken down for like a false copyright strike.
2013.
Okay, no, I'm talking about in general. I'm not talking about mine specifically. My weird Roblox fashion video, no.
I still remember that too.
Yeah. But like other people is like have said that their YouTube videos have been falsely taken down by like false copyright strikes. Because there's also just been random like AI generated copyright strikes. And they submit like an appeal being like, hey, this isn't like something with copyright. And they will get responses back saying like, "Oh, we reviewed it and there's nothing." And it's like, well, we can tell a human didn't review this. And it's just, it shouldn't be a thing in general. It should not be something that is being implemented.
Well, that's the problem though. It's like this self-feeding cycle of like people want to use it in order to do tasks that they think humans can't do, or like humans can't do in terms of like the grand scale of things. Like for instance, with
Yeah.
the YouTube situation of like one human can't look after 5,000 videos in a single day. So
Yeah.
but in that sense, because the way that that kind of AI system works, it needs to be trained, which means that it's gonna suck until it gets better, which means regardless of whether or not it's a good thing, they're gonna use it because they need to use it for it to get better, which means that it's gonna suck. And that's what makes it ultimately not worth it in the long run, because at the same time, if it keeps sucking, then it keeps making an even worse impact on whatever it is that it's trying to do. And so it's just horrible.
Especially once you factor in the fact that humans learn faster than a machine does.
Look at a baby.
And
Just look at it.
we are already, with art especially, we're already figuring out ways to make it so that AI can't steal it. And by putting in very like already copyrighted images or stuff like that, or things that just AI can't comprehend. And so we're creating ways to get around AI usage in general. And so with the entire, well, AI has to learn how to do it, we're gonna outlearn it before it can learn the very basics.
But that's the funny part though, because then you'll have people that are on the opposite side that are trying to help program this AI to get better. And even though it's literally a human that's behind it, they're the ones that are implementing whatever specific drives and stuff that allow it to bypass all of these things that other humans have come up with. And so it's like this self-feeding cycle of like, we might find a way for it to not be able to steal an image, but then someone that's meant to be programming AIs programs how for it to look past whatever way that we have already developed so that it can go on, and then we have to make another version. And so I don't know. It's just I hate the war. Essentially, this digital war that I feel like people don't realize how annoying it is if they're not within any kind of creative artistic community, because it's so much worse when you're inside of it.
It's also the greed part of it too. And I think why certain entertainment is going to get really, really bad and for a while.
What's the deal with airplane food?
What?
It's okay. Anyways, you know what? Maybe that'll be next week's episode. We'll do an in-depth dive into AI.
Oh God, no, thanks.
I'm not saying we're gonna enjoy it. And besides, you said you wanted to talk about it at some point in the future, anyways.
No, I wanted to talk about the human experience in depth.
What is the human experience if not one big generated AI?
It is very much not.
I couldn't finish that sentence. Anyways, yeah, that's been this week. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.